Our duty is to struggle for Swaraj. We cannot wait. We must take our destiny into our own hands.
Welcome to the starting point of India's organized freedom struggle.
In this lesson, we will explore how the idea of a free India grew from the meeting rooms of Indian National Congress into a powerful mass movement. We will meet the first generation of leaders, understand their demands, and witness the critical turning point, the Partition of Bengal, that changed the course of Indian history forever. The Indian national movement's goals were not only to fight against British rule, but also to unite diverse sections of Indian society to build a new nation. 1857 revolt was a widespread struggle against the British. Its aim was to restore the old order of kings, queens, and the existing social structure, not to create a new vision for the country. But the introduction of English education in the late 19th century led to the rise of new consciousness among intellectuals in major cities like Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay. Educated Indians opposed the inequalities of the old Indian social system and advocated for a democratic political order. They became critics of the exploitative nature of British rule after understanding its true impact. There were some early political associations. East India Association. It was founded by Dadabhai Nauroji in London in 1866. There were some provincial associations. Our leaders like Surendranath Banerjee, M.G. Ranade, Badruddin Tyabzi formed various associations in Kolkata, Pune, Mumbai, and Madras. These organizations aimed to discuss local problems, unite intellectuals while may had regional focuses. They declared their goals were for the benefit of all Indians, irrespective of region, community, or class. The Indian National Congress, the moderate phase from 1885 to 1905. Early nationalists promoted the idea that India should be a sovereign nation. They believed that the Indian people should be empowered to make their own decisions regarding their affairs. They organized campaigns against unjust British policies such as taxes on textiles, racial discrimination, and repressive press laws. Formation of Indian National Congress was a turning point. The first session was held in Bombay in December 1885. It was presided over by W.C. Banerjee. The session was attended by 72 delegates from across India. Prominent leaders attended like Dadabhai Nauroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Tyabzi, W.C. Banerjee, and Surendranath Banerjee. Many were from Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. A.O. Hume, a retired British official, played a significant role in its establishment. Their foremost task was to build a nationalist consciousness and unite the diverse people of India. To achieve unity, they decided to accommodate the special requirements of different regions and religious communities. So, they took steps for unity, holding congress sessions in different parts of country every year, agreeing not to pass any resolution if it was opposed by any single religious group. Second major objective was to create a common political platform where political workers from across the country could gather, conduct activities, and mobilize people on an all-India basis. This was done by studying common grievances, appealing to the government, and educating people about their political rights. Their third major objective to promote democratic ideals and functioning. The INC itself operated democratically, discussing issues and using voting to reach consensus. In its initial stage, the INC deliberately decided not to take up social reform issues, as it was felt they would divide the Indian people. The number of delegates grew rapidly from 436 in 1886 to thousands in subsequent years, indicating the Congress' increasing popularity. Sessions were held annually in different parts of the country. Early delegates were mostly professionals like lawyers, journalists, traders, industrialists, teachers, and landlords. Most came from higher social backgrounds. Female participation was very low. Kadambini Ganguly, the first woman graduate from Calcutta, is noted as one of the few women who attended. The leaders during this period are known as moderate nationalists. Their primary demand was to get a greater voice for Indians in the government and administration. They requested the British government to introduce a number of reforms to achieve this. Political demands of the moderates. They wanted the Imperial Legislative Council to be more representative and powerful. They asked for Indians to be placed in high-ranking government positions. A key demand was to hold the civil services examinations in India, not just in London. They pushed for the Indianization of the administration to end the monopoly of white Europeans in important jobs. Methods of the moderates. They believed the British would be just and fair if their demands were expressed properly. Their method of agitation involved newspapers, lectures, passing resolutions, and sending petitions. This is often summarized as a policy of pray, petition, and protest. While often unsuccessful in changing government policy, their work was crucial for shaping Indian public opinion. Economic critique of British rule. Leaders like Dadabhai Nauroji, R.C. Dutt, and M.G. Ranade concluded that the British were draining India of its wealth, making the country poorer. They blamed British policies for poverty and famines, especially citing excessive land revenue and the export of grains. The Congress passed resolutions against the salt tax, the poor treatment of Indian laborers abroad, and restrictive forest laws. They argued that British rule hindered India's industrial development by draining wealth and flooding the market with cheap British goods. British policies and famines. They destroyed local crops. Major famines occurred frequently under British rule. While triggered by bad harvests, their devastating impact was due to colonial government policies. The government collected high taxes, leaving peasants with no surplus food. During famines, the government did not intervene to control prices or supplies, which allowed traders to hoard food and raise prices, leading to millions of deaths. Beginning of a new phase, the Indian national movement took a significant leap forward around 1905 with the start of the Swadeshi movement, marking the beginning of the extremist phase 1905 to 1920. Trigger for mass movement, Partition of Bengal. The primary trigger was Lord Curzon's proposal to partition of Bengal in 1903, which was implemented in 1905. The British motive was seen as a political act to divide the Bengal people and weaken the national movement. Methods of Swadeshi movement. Boycott. A mass response was organized calling for the boycott of English cloth and salt. This expanded boycotting all government institutions like schools, colleges, and courts. Public protests. Public burning of foreign cloth and picketing of shops selling foreign goods became common. Women refused to use foreign bangles and utensils. People set up their own Swadeshi schools, colleges, and parallel courts to settle disputes. Impact and participation. For the first time, women, students, and a large section of the rural population became actively involved in politics. The spontaneous unity of diverse groups formed the basis of a stronger Indian nationalism. The movement gave a tremendous encouragement to Indian industry, stimulating the production of Swadeshi salt, sugar, matches, and chemicals. Example: P.C. Rai's Bengal Chemical Works. It encouraged Jamshedji Tata to open his steel plant and created huge demand for indigenous textiles. The split between moderates and extremists. Extremist leaders led by Balagangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Lala Lajpat Rai, known as Lal, Bal, Pal. Extremist goals and strategy. They wanted to extend the movement to the rest of India. They demanded full freedom or Swaraj. Tilak gave the famous slogan, "Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it." Their strategy was to mobilize the masses against the British rule to force them to leave, rejecting the earlier methods which they termed as begging. They believed the masses were not yet ready for a full-scale struggle for freedom. They wanted a more gradual pace of movement. The Congress split at its Surat session in 1907, forcing extremist leaders like Balagangadhar Tilak to leave. The British government heavily suppressed the extremists and the Swaraj movement, imprisoning many leaders. Young Swarajists continued the struggle by targeting unpopular British officials, keeping the spirit of nationalism alive despite not succeeding in their primary goal. The Partition of Bengal. On October 16, 1905, the Partition of Bengal was implemented and observed as a day of mourning. Protests included a hartal, means strike, in Calcutta, closure of shops and no cooking. People took out processions, bathed in the Ganges, and sang Vande Mataram. As a symbol of unity, people tied Rakis on each other's hands. Mass meetings were addressed by leaders like Ananda Mohan Bose and Surendranath Banerjee, with attendance reaching about 75,000 people. Revival of the national movement. The movement was revived in 1915 after Tilak's return from exile. Tilak and Annie Besant joined forces to launch the Home Rule movement. The two functions of the Congress, extremists and moderates, reunited through the Lucknow Pact in 1916. The First World War. World War I began in 1914 and lasted for nearly 5 years, ending in 1918. The primary conflict was between Britain, France, and Russia on one side, and Germany and its allies on the other. Indians expected democratic reforms after the war, but Britain introduced even harsh laws, leading to widespread discontent. During this period of increasing repression, Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa and joined the Indian freedom movement. Global impact of the war. The war ended with the defeat of Germany, causing unprecedented human suffering and destruction. A socialist revolution took place in Russia, where communists overthrew the emperor, abolished private ownership of land and factories, and advocated for equality and freedom for all nations. Impact on India. The war brought great suffering to the common people in India, as the British raised taxes and exported food and necessities to support their war efforts. The success of Russian Revolution inspired people in India, fostering the belief that unjust rulers could be overthrown to build a society based on equality and justice. During this period, Krishna Patrika was a newspaper started in Machilipatnam in 1902. Muttnuri Krishnarao, one of its founders, became its editor in 1907 and served until his death in 1945. This newspaper played a crucial role in publicizing India's freedom struggle.